What is up, everybody? Welcome back to TeeDogCustoms and to another video where we will be addressing some issues with the Cummins, but more importantly today, specifically this video is going to be for a hot retorque. I drove this today to work for the first time. It did excellent. Performed great, had no issues. It literally has 0 leaks, and I couldn't be more happy. Oil pressure is super high, and it's just great. So without further ado, I'm going to snap us right into a time lapse right now. Now that we have the valve cover off, everything, I've checked over everything looks really good. As you can see, these are studs. If you look here, they are not bolts. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take off the intake valve on each one, and that will allow us to reach the bolt right here, the stud, to torque it down. So you don't have to take off the exhaust valves, just the intake valves. So let's go ahead and do that now, and once I get that off, we will be ready to retorque this thing. What you're going to want to do, take your it's going to be a 10 millimeter, and you will loosen up all your intake rockers, which are the smaller ones. So go ahead and do that. So that is exactly what I have done, and I'm gonna keep mine all in order, because I don't want to, like, they're adjusted differently as far as the valves, how I have them. And so it'll be closer if you just keep track of where you, which cylinder you took them off. It's rather toasty. So anyways, I'll put you guys back on time lapse, but just go ahead and take them all off and lay them in a row. I'll get a little up close here so you can see. You've got your studs here, one here, and then you can kind of just see where they are. So, like I said, all you have to do is take off the intake ones. This is how I have them lined up, so I know front to back. You don't have to do that, but I think I've found that it is just easier to keep track of that, and it's just something I do. So that's that. So on these are actually, they're not ARP head studs. They are through a company called Exotic Performance, I believe, head studs. So they actually have a specific 130 is their torque spec for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up on the screen the actual orientation that you will torque these down in, the sequence. There is a sequence from center and then you work your way out. These ones, like I said, are specific to exotic performance. So if you have ARP head studs, or if you're doing stock bolts, follow the specs for those specific things. But these ones are 130 foot-pounds, so that's what I'm going to retorque them down to. Whew. Tell you what, guys, that is a workout. 130 pounds on all of those, like 26 or whatever it is. That's a workout. So I don't know if I covered this already or not, but at least on these head studs, it's a size 14 millimeter. And something that I noticed is the hot side, which I kind of expected, but it makes sense. But the hot side, all these were the loosest. So some of these were still at torque spec, but down here I noticed where the majority of the heat is, it had loosened up a little bit. So I am very glad I decided to do this hot retorque, because man, there's a good chance with the kind of boost that these things can run that it could have been bad, could have lifted the head. Don't want to deal with that. I just want this thing to be reliable. So super glad I did that. So just keep that in mind. If you aren't doing a hot retorque after you've done like a head gasket, you may want to. I definitely recommend it. It's very easy. It can only take 30 minutes or so, maybe 45. If you're not recording like I am, and you know what you're doing, you can do it in a lot quicker. But anyways, we're going to stick these back on, retorque the rocker arms, and then we are going to hopefully find a top dead center again. In my earlier video, I tell you guys how to find top dead center, and I made some marks down here so I know. And when your number 1 cylinder exhaust and intake are loose, that is when you know you're at true top dead center, and there will be quite some gap when you're at top dead center. But everything looks good here, so it's time to button it back up. So we'll move on from that now. Over here, I believe this is called the AFC, I believe, and it needs boost, needs intake pressure. So the way I've been running it is over to here, and it runs across the valve cover and looks really ghetto. Don't like it at all, but it was temporary. So what I'm gonna do now is, oops, and there go all my bolts. All right, put those right there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to tap a hole, and I've got this little fitting here that I'm going to tap into there. And for the AFC now, I can just go ahead and run it right up to the bottom there. It'll look a whole lot cleaner, and I won't have to worry about it crossing over the valve cover and, you know, just be a hassle. So that's that. Gonna go ahead and get started on that. Just a little update on what I have gotten done tonight. Valve cover back on. I didn't video any because honestly I was on the phone with someone and I wanted to work while I was on the phone, and so I just didn't record either. But got the air for the AFC off of the P pump going into the charge pipe here. So now it doesn't run across here, and then now for the boost gauge it just runs straight down, a lot cleaner. Down here I also put in the new temperature sensor for the fan to kick on when it reaches temperature. That way I don't have a switch inside the Jeep like I did, turning it on and off. Now it will automatically kick on. And that brings us to inside a little bit. If I can, my light here. I used the Jeep boot here, and that is ready and closed up. So that came out nice. And let's see what else. I think that was pretty much it that I did this evening. Still need to hook up the four-wheel drive, the drive shaft for that, but I will do that on a later date, just when before I go four-wheeling obviously, or off-roading. But I definitely want to make sure I have a good driving Jeep before I take the time to do all that. Anyways guys, that is kind of wrapped up. I topped off the coolant because when I took the temperature sensor out, I lost a little bit of coolant, so that is topped back off, and we are ready to rip. So tomorrow I'll make sure the fans kick on and everything, and we did have a couple boost leaks on the charge pipe that I needed to weld up and fix. So that was causing a little bit of issue too, but nothing too major. So that'll do it for this video though, guys. And here shortly we are going to be doing some fun stuff with this Jeep, and once it gets a little warmer. It's still a little on the chilly side to take the family in this, being that I don't have the soft top, I just have the top here, and these are the only doors that I have, which does pretty good, but you still get a lot of wind through the back here. So all that to say, once it warms up a little more, we'll get some family action in this thing. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get the hood on. I just had it off while I test drive it to make sure that everything's fine, it's not leaking anything or something like that. A lot easier to keep track of. So anyways, I will catch you guys in the next upload. Keep grinding as always, and peace.